Welcome to our service this morning. The Reverend Tamara Casanova Suzuki is away. She'll be back in the pulpit late next month. But we are delighted this morning to have Barb Finch. Barb grew up as our speaker this morning, Barb grew up, just always delighted. Barb grew up as a Unitarian Universalist and is a longtime member of Live Oak, where she actually chaired the worship ministry for, it says here, nearly 10 years. It seems like quite a gift to us. She believes in the power of community and serves as the Community Network Director for Santa Barbara County's Department of Social Services. Thank you, Barb. In this religious community, we welcome all. Our generations join together to nurture spiritual growth and personal transformation, that we may be inspired to transform the world with love, hope, compassion, and justice. In worship, and symbolizes our faith in action. It represents the warmth of community and the flame of hope. Our chalice is fueled by the long work that we have put in building this foundation and the inspiration of new ideas and spirit. This morning, Finn is going to help me light the chalice.
Hi, everyone.
Please join together as we read the words for chalice lighting from John Sos that are printed in the screens and in your order of service. To be of the earth is to know the restlessness of being a seed, the darkness of being planted, the struggle toward light, the pain of growth into the light, the joy of bursting and bearing fruit, the love of being fruit for someone, the scattering of your seeds, the decay of the seasons, the mystery of death, and the miracle of birth.
Good morning. Our call to worship this morning comes from E.F. Schumacher. Our ordinary mind always tries to persuade us that we are nothing but acorns, and that our greatest happiness will be to be bigger, fatter, shinier acorns. But our faith gives us knowledge of something better, that we can become oak trees.
This morning, we'll enter into our time of silence with a guided meditation that includes a poem by Ivan Lalick. As we begin, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a deep breath and draw your energy back into your body, back from people and places that hold your attention, back from tasks and concerns that wait you at the end of the day. As you exhale, feel the full presence of your body. Feel the weight of your body settled in the chair. Feel your feet firmly planted on the floor. And as you breathe, imagine roots starting at the base of your spine and extending deep into the earth. Roots reaching down and spreading out in every direction. Imagine the soles of your feet relaxing, opening, and drawing earth energy up into your body as you breathe in the energy of stability, of strength, of vital life force, and unconditional love. And as you breathe out, releasing any tension or worry back into the earth. Learn, my heart, what any tree can tell you, how to assign its roots, to drive them right ways down into the loosened darkness. Not through the stone, but round the stone. Not into the clay, but towards the water close at hand. Not into the unyielding, but into the love, ready to answer the pressure of rootlets with a rush, forcing up a ringed access to the fork and beyond, with an upland rise of branches, repeating the pattern of a nether thirst. Although I watched and waited for it every day, somehow I missed it, the moment when everything reaches the peak of ripeness. It wasn't at the solstice. That was only the time of the longest light. It was sometime after that, when the plants had absorbed all that sun, had taken it into themselves for food and swelled to the height of fullness. It was in July, in a dizzy blaze of heat and fog, when on some nights it was too hot to sleep. And so the poet Carolyn Miller invites us into a warm summer in San Francisco, into the fullness and abundance of summer days. In my family, summer days meant time spent outdoors, on shaded patios and screened porches, or tumbling down grassy hillsides. I grew up among passionate gardeners, grandfathers who tended towering plots of sweet corn and backyard beds of flamboyant roses, and my mother, whose patience and persistence fostered magnificent dahlias and zinnias of every color, tender green beans, bountiful zucchinis, and vine-ripened tomatoes that exploded in your mouth with the very essence of the season. The green thumbs of my ancestors were not passed along to me, but I appreciate the gifted gardeners among us. There are many. And I understand the importance of fertile soil, mulch, and careful watering, weeding, pest control, and tending to each plant with love. I was fortunate to witness this type of devotion in my growing years, not only in the literal gardens of my childhood, but also in the many ways that I was given strong roots and coaxed toward the height of fullness, so I could step into adulthood and scatter seeds of my own. Ah, yes, the seeds. To be honest, they were the inspiration for this sermon. You see, although I watched and waited for it every day, encouraged their growing and swelled with pride at their strength and resilience, I've been feeling kind of anxious and ungrounded these past few weeks since my seedlings pulled up their roots to begin adult lives in distant places. My friend Kim is a practitioner of dirt therapy who knows something about this process. She voluntarily uprooted herself from a fulfilling life in the Midwest, following her heart to Santa Barbara to be present for the first year of her new grandbaby's life. She quickly found her way to the Botanic Gardens, where she volunteered to tend plants in the nursery, a pastime that fed her soul. We recently spent a lazy afternoon together, reflecting on roots and our children's growing, and she shared a bit of plant wisdom with me. She said, "You know, Barb, seeds become seedlings, and seedlings become young plants. At every stage, there comes a point where the pot is too small, and transplanting is necessary for continued growth." At the garden, they never transplant without providing enriched soil and a good dose of fertilizer. This improves the chances for success. She acknowledged that sometimes the roots don't withstand the shock of transplanting and the plant withers. Hence, my anxiety. The Unitarian Universalist principles provide rich and fertile soil for growing great kids. My kids grew up at Live Oak, valuing the interdependent web of life, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, compassion, and the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Their grounding in UU principles and in the love of this community carried them through some very difficult times. I trust that they are making this transition with healthy roots, but I can't anticipate the challenges they will face, and I am concerned about the hostile environments that seem to be gaining ground in these times of political turmoil, growing inequity, and the destruction of our planet. My hope is that the roots that have sustained them thus far will stay strong, will hold them close as they weather each storm and seek to know new sources of nourishment. The transition also offers an opportunity for me. Even though I've been living alone since my son went off to college, somehow this shift has seemed more significant. Perhaps it's because his graduation coincided with my daughter's move to the East Coast. Or perhaps it's the realization that both of my kids are now gainfully employed and truly on their own. My shifting moods and restlessness may be signs that it's time for transplanting. Maybe a more colorful pot, slightly larger, with fresh soil and good drainage. My role has changed, and change offers an invitation to reassess, reflect, and revisit my sense of purpose and direction, to think about and consciously strengthen those things that have sustained me through the ups and downs of my life. By continuing my own search for truth and meaning, I'm better prepared to offer wise counsel when it's requested, and I can know that as my roots sink deeper and spread more widely, I am entering new phases of growth myself. When I first began to ponder the notion of roots, I was drawn to think about the obvious: ancestry, family history, biology, DNA. It seems like genealogy and DNA testing are all the rage these days. And although I appreciate the stories I've heard about donor babies finding siblings they didn't know they've had, and adopted children finding their families of origin, I haven't felt the urge to venture down that path myself. I was missing the spiritual connection, so I asked a trusted Live Oak genealogy buff to enlighten me, and her face lit up. In the course of our conversation, it became clear to me, science and technology have given us a way to touch the lives of those who've gone before us in more tangible ways. The search connects people to information that reveals talents, passions, and physical traits, and even trauma, patterns that in some cases have been passed through generations. This information can help us understand the truth of who we are and how we came to be. There's recognition of the mystery that connects us through time and space. Exploring one's roots in this way can lead to a pilgrimage, an opportunity to meet newly discovered family members, or to visit towns and grave sites where our predecessors beckon us to sit. We seek to feel the connection, the presence of those who share our story and those who've gone before us, to feel a stirring in the soul that tells us the ancestors are holding us close and whispering their approval. My roots are also where I'm from. My birthplace, schools I've attended, houses I've lived in, neighborhoods I've known. These places are important because they hold memories of my growing. Memories most often made in the company of others who were attuned to my needs. Those who provided companionship, guidance, and unconditional love. I was rooted in rituals, in the turning of the seasons, in celebrations of faith and love. It seems our roots touch all of these things, the lived experiences that have shaped a sense of self, and the memories of moments that affirm our belonging to something bigger. Kentucky poet George L. Lyon wrote a poem in 1993 that has been borrowed and shared as a writing exercise to help students give poetic voice to their family origins. It has fostered a deeper appreciation of diversity and human connection. She says of the poem, "Its life beyond my notebook is a testimony to the power of poetry, of roots, and of teachers. Many thanks to all of you who have taken it to heart and handed it on." Two of my teachers shared the poem, titled Where I'm From, as part of the Courage to Lead retreat series, a year-long program that is based on the work of Parker Palmer. They encouraged us to write and share our own stories. Where I'm from. I am from purple-blue violets poking up through damp woodland earth. From towhead shenanigans and whirligig delights. I am from secret forts and backyard adventures, from musty attics with tattered satin dresses, fur stoles, and high heels. I am from buttery sweet corn, Toll House cookies, and blueberry bushes that brought magic to ordinary pancakes. I am from girls can do anything, from lane lines and green hair and healthy doses of defeat. I'm from camping trips and thunderstorms and campfire songs in harmony. From Grandpa Will's paintings and giant boxes of every color crayons. I'm from figure it out, from pros and cons and logical thinking, from physics and wonder. I'm from Jefferson and Emerson, from liberal religion and freedom of thought. I am from older and younger, planted firmly in the middle of a loving family. These are my roots. While the search for truth and meaning is a deeply personal endeavor, our culture seems to encourage mobility, activity, and risk-taking. Moving from place to place, hedging our bets and leaping into the unknown, setting our sights on something that we believe will bring greater satisfaction or fuel our personal growth. Go for it, spread your wings, reach for the stars. These sentiments are lovely, but without roots, the quest to understand and fulfill our life's purpose can be scattered and unproductive. I'm inspired by the wisdom of trees, as described in this excerpt by John O'Donohue. The tree is wise in the art of belonging. The tree teaches us how to journey. Too frequently, our inner journeys have no depth. We move feverishly into new situations and experiences which neither nourish us nor challenge us, because we've left our deeper selves behind. Much of our experience is likely superficial. It slips deftly from surface to surface. It lacks rootage. The tree can reach towards the light, endure wind and rain and storm precisely because it is rooted. Each of its branches is ultimately anchored in a reliable depth of clay. The wisdom of the tree balances the path inwards with the path outwards. I want my inner journey to have depth. Questioning, mindfulness, these represent the path inward. Activity engagement form the outward path. Integration of the two leads to balance. Mindfully digging in the dirt and nurturing growth is a spiritual practice that connects one to the miracle of life, the fragility of the ecosystem, and the cycles of nature. Wandering through unknown places with an open mind and an open heart can heighten the senses and bring a different perspective that inspires new ways of being. Pushing beyond the comfort zone and taking on physical challenges can expand the trust in possibilities and help us to release limiting beliefs. The noble quest to know the self, to live as roots and branches, to discover what nourishes and challenges us, and to know where we belong and where we came from. This is a spiritual path that winds through the garden of your choosing. Summer is a great time to explore these inward and outward connections, to actively engage in the search. Some people will travel, some study, others spend time reconnecting with self through creative projects or exquisite relaxation. Whether we head for the majesty of nature or the comfort of community, the exhilaration of discovery or the satisfaction of family obligations fulfilled, summer invites us to pause, to recognize and appreciate the abundance that flows through our lives, the people, places, and experiences that nurture and sustain us. But how do we know when we need to be nourished or transplanted? When we need to return to the home of the soul or sink our roots more deeply into the dark unknown? Our lives will inevitably take us through periods of drought, flood, and fire, through everyday stress and catastrophic circumstances. Boredom, apathy, sensitivity, overwhelm, a desperate search for validation, feeling unfocused, distracted, disconnected. In these times, our roots hold us close and keep us from blowing away. And what is it that nourishes us on this deep level? Is it the outward activity or the inward journey, or a combination of the two? In his book about the natural history of trees, ecologist Peter Thomas tells us the two main functions of roots are to take up water and minerals and to hold the tree up. Water and dissolved minerals move only slowly through the soil, so roots have to go to the water rather than waiting for the water to come to them. When we embark on an inward journey, we are roots going to the water, seeking nourishment in silence, contemplation, or prayer. These practices give us strength and guidance for the outward path where we are branches, seeking sunlight and community. In community, we are drawn to outward activity that also feeds the soul. Through ritual and tradition, we're connected through the ages. Through service and creative expression, we're connected heart to heart and soul to soul. By caring for the planet, sharing our unique gifts, and living life according to our values, we prepare the way for future generations. And so I return to the wisdom of the gifted gardener. When transplanting, gently loosen the roots that have been bound in tight places. Prepare the soil by infusing it with joyful memories and reminders of your strength, courage, and perseverance. Tend to the garden. Eliminate pests and weeds and cultivate true friendships to buffer and protect you from the elements. Surround yourself with beauty and other living things. And when times get tough, remember your roots. Tap into your belonging to replenish. Then you will find inspiration that will open you once again to love. For love is the super nutrient that infuses our fondest memories, resides deep within the self, and is grown in community. It is love that brings us to life. May it be so.
Standing and join hands so that all are included in our circle. Our faith and this congregation is dedicated to the proposition that behind all of our differences, beneath all of our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We pause in silent witness to that unity. May the blessings of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. May love's presence illuminate your heart, now and forevermore. So be it. Amen. Blessed be. And now, as we extinguish the light of our communal chalice, our service may truly begin.